You're going to want to stick around for this video because we're going to have some real fun with this. This is a webcam, and you're thinking, how can a webcam be fun? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this one does something uniquely different. It's the BenQ ideaCam S1 Pro. It was sent to me for review from BenQ, and it's got an 8 megapixel Sony CMOS. It's going to auto switch into different modes, 3 different camera modes. Got AI noise reduction, shoots up to 4K at 30, has a remote controller, and here is the killer feature. It can move into macro videography and photography with a 15 times magnifying lens. Stick around for the footage. You're going to want to see it. It's really incredible. When you open up the box, you are going to get a quick start guide as well as some other details here. So you'll want to refer to that. There is a software package you'll want to download that is free of charge that will allow you to really unlock the capabilities of this camera. I will link to this in the description down below so you can get more details as well as purchase information through that link. Here is the remote control, and it's got everything that you need on it. It operates off of 2 AAA batteries. Everything's kind of magnetic, so you've got a magnetic back that easily opens up. It's got a swivel dial that's reminiscent of a Nest thermostat for things like zooming in. You also have a receiver that will pair that to that remote that you just saw. And it does include the 2 AAA batteries that will power up the remote. Now, moving right along, you can see that we've got our camera as well as its cord. More on that in a moment. Here is the stand. So this is a weighted stand on the back. It also has a thread. So if you didn't want to pop it on top of your monitor, you can actually put it onto a tripod. And then this is your magnifier. I know it seems so simple, but I've not seen another video webcam include something like this before. It's got a little protector on it, so you want to pull that off before you start using it. And I'll show you the incredible footage that you can capture in just a moment. You also have a privacy shield. This is also magnetic. It just attaches to the front of the camera, so when you're not using it, it will essentially turn the camera off or make sure that if the camera's on, you can't be seen or heard. We've got a protective plastic over the lens. Peel that back and you'll see the camera up close here. It also has a little light ring that is controlled via the top buttons that you see there. That light ring is really, in my opinion, used more for the macro videography and photography, although it will help just a little bit when you're on camera, and there is that magnetic lens cover. Now, in this first example, I want to show you what you can expect with the ideaCam Pro in its full auto state. So the audio that you're hearing here is being captured straight from the ideaCam. The video is set to the highest resolution, and the camera's doing all the work. So it's set to autofocus, auto white balance, auto saturation. There's no lights on me other than 2 windows that are open on either side. And if I pop on the little video light on this camera, you'll see how that impacts it. I don't really expect much because that light is more for your macro photography and videography. So I'm going to turn that off, but I will say I've got 2 key lights that I'm going to turn on right now. So those are on, and you can see how that impacts things. I'm going to turn them off right now. So there you go. And that's just an example of what you can expect straight out of the box. One other thing for autofocus on items that you might hold up close to the camera, this is kind of what you can expect. So it does kind of key in pretty quickly depending on the light. So again, that's no light. If I turn on my key lights here, give me just a moment, you can see that actually does it a little bit quicker. So pretty good for that autofocus on items that you're holding right up to the camera. So let's do this one more time. Now I've got it set to manual focus as well as manual settings for white balance, for your saturation, all of that stuff. So definitely if you spend a little bit of time, you can get your picture dialed in better than what I think happens on the auto side of things. Right now I've got no lights turned on. So of course, if I turn on my key lights, I expect that it's going to change things up a bit here, and I want to probably go back and readjust my settings. But I am pretty pleased with the image quality once you spend a little bit of time dialing into it. One more really cool thing I want to show you here is how this camera can intelligently understand when you flip it down to, let's say, shoot a product video. So watch this. I'm going to aim the camera down. It will automatically flip, so I don't have to worry about that in post. If I turn that little light on, you can see it adds a little dimension to it. Of course, you're going to want to add your own lights. I'll turn that back off. And as I flip this back up towards me, we're back. So that's pretty cool. So now we're going to have a little bit of fun, because this is where it gets really interesting with this camera. You see some crystals there. We've got an oxidized penny, the quick start guide, a nickel, a memory card, and then the windscreen from my microphone. Let me go ahead and grab the magnifier here and pop it on the camera. And we'll start with some text here. That's kind of crazy. And the light is not even on the camera right now. So I'll turn it on and you can see just the print. I'll move on over to the other start guide. And as we scroll through, you can see how incredible this can capture things. But let's have some fun with it. Let's go ahead and move on over to that windscreen, because check this out. This gets really trippy. I mean, you start seeing things here that, gosh, I didn't even know that's what the windscreen would look like. But now let's move on over to a nickel, and you can see how that's going to look. Let's move on over to that oxidized penny, and I'm going to flip it around because there's some more on the back side, and you can see how that comes through. Here's a memory card. You can see the circuits and everything. That is just crazy. And then let's have some real fun and move on over to some crystals, because as we take a look here, you can really start to dive in and see what this is going to look like up close. And I'll move to another one. Some of it I have to kind of hold handheld, but I mean, check that out. That's just crazy. And then one more here. And you can see things that just you normally would not see. I mean, it's not always glamorous. You're going to see things that maybe you didn't notice before. But overall, this is kind of the magic trick that this camera does, that I am already thinking about many, many, many different ways that I can use this moving forward. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up with just some final thoughts on the BenQ ideaCam S1 Pro, because I'll tell you right now, the killer feature for me is the macro videography and photography. You snap on this little magnetic magnifier and the technology does all of the magic. I mean, you saw some of the video that I captured of crystals and up close text, as well as the windscreen on my microphone. I mean, it's incredible. It opens up a whole new world of creative possibilities, and I will absolutely be using that. I also love the fact that this camera is intelligent enough to realize when you flip it down into like a product showcase mode that it'll flip the image for you, so you don't have to do that in post. It works exceptionally well in handheld mode, and from a video standpoint, I think it performs well enough. I mean, you saw the highest quality I was capturing, 4K 30, with lights on as well as lights off. And the audio quality, I would say, is about as expected as well. So the other thing I'll mention is the remote. This is also a game changer for me. I haven't seen any other webcams really come with something like this. And the ability to use that remote to swivel it and zoom in, or to freeze frame, mute microphone, and other features as well is very, very welcome in my opinion. So overall, I think this is a fantastic webcam, definitely worth a look. And for me, man, if nothing else, it's worth it for the magnifying capabilities alone. So, hey, thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them down below. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one.